Okay, he's a 2. But on the first date, he orders an Occhipinti SP68.
Oh, that's not fair.
Okay, let's have a little bit of fun. We're gonna play a little game with the wine women of the internet, rating guys.
He's a 10!
These women are gonna rate guys based on wine choices. I'm basically gonna give them a number and then a situation, and they're gonna give their answer and reaction.
0.
Nicole goes by the name Grape Chic, and it's so funny. A couple of years ago, her and I were competing in a wine writing contest. Amanda, who goes by Vivum across a lot of channels, her TikTok account is one of the few American wine accounts that have really blown up in the last year. And Chelsea goes by the name Chell Loves Wine, and she resides in Atlanta, a city that's, I hold close in my heart because I spent 4 years during graduate school there. He's a 10, but he only drinks Miller Lite.
You know what? I might keep him at like an 8 because I grew up in the country and everybody only drank like Miller Lite, Busch Light, Bud Light growing up. So I feel like I'm okay with it. It's technically the champagne of beers, right? So we can't like knock it too hard.
He's a 3, but he has a huge collection. He buys every vintage of Domaine Tempier.
Oh. Man, that's like an 8. That speaks volumes, right? Like that's a guy I want to hang out with. That's a guy who's like done his research. Like dates are going to be super fun, and then you're never going to run out of Tempier Rosé, which is not easy to get. So like, props to you, sir.
Wait, so you're pro rosé more than the Bandol Rouge?
Well, no, I love all of them, but the rosé is just incredibly hard to get.
He's a 4. So it's not the best, but he has over 2 million followers on Instagram.
Ooh, you know what? He's still a 4. He's still a 4 because I don't want him to have that many followers on Instagram. Come on.
He's a 9, but he'll only drink Prosecco when it comes to sparkling wine.
Okay, can I ask a follow-up question?
Yes.
Does he call it Prosecco or does he call it champagne even though it's Prosecco?
He just says Prosecco. He does say Prosecco.
Okay, so I'm gonna give him a 5 because at least he knows it's Prosecco, which is a big step up. But also, like, I think there are so many, I'm a champagne girly, so like, if that's all he drinks, that's like a 5. It's like a really, that's hard for me.
Wow, that's like hard. A super deal breaker. He's a 4. But he's on the mailing list of Ad Vivum.
Oh man, 10 out of 10. Those are my people.
I haven't.
I love Ad Vivum. It's when people ask me like, what's your favorite Napa Valley wine? That is, I'd say like on most days that's my answer. It changes for most of us wine people, but I'd say most days Ad Vivum is my answer. Chris Phelps, great winemaker, former Dominus, just beautiful wine and great people.
I have, I've tasted most of the cult Napa wines, or most of the, I'd never heard about that producer before I had to do my research.
She flies under the radar. It's good. It's a good one. And it's a good one to know if you're into Dominus and more into the old world style of Napa Valley. It's a really good one to know.
He's a 5. Pretty solid. But he knows in detail about the wines of Colares in Portugal.
Ooh, he's an 8.5.
Did you like the wines then?
I mean, have you had Ramishko? It's incredible.
And the whites too, the Malvasia. Oh.
I'm here for both. So, you know what? Let's round that up to a 9.
Oh, he's an 8. He knows his wines, but he really dislikes Perrier-Jouet.
Probably. Okay, I'm gonna give him a 4.5 because if he still really likes champagne and he knows his wine, Perrier-Jouet is a great wine. I would say it's a little bit more of an expensive champagne, so like maybe I'll give him a 5. I'll give him a 5. Only 3 points deduction.
Wow,
Only 3 points.
Your bubbles mean a lot. Okay, he's a 2. But on the first date, he orders an Occhipinti SP68.
Oh, that's not fair. That gets, you're at an 8 on the first date, and then we see how it goes. That, like, Man, what a wine. Yeah, I mean, the story with SB68 is like, that was like the first date wine that made me fall in love with my boyfriend. And it's just such a great wine. And I think along the same lines as the Tempier, like, it just really shows that you care and you've done your research, and it's not an obvious choice and it's not an over the top expensive choice. It's a really subtle, tells me a lot about you kind of wine, and a big fan.
I love how you just...
I think subtlety goes a long way in a wine selection and in a gut.
He's a 1, so he's like at the bottom. But
Okay.
he has these magical powers to go back to Super Bowl 25, and Scott Norwood's wide right field he makes it go in.
It is a 47-yard try by Scott Norwood to try to win the game for Buffalo. There's a snap. There's a kick. It is up. It is no good.
He's a 10! Let's go, Bills Mafia! He's an automatic 10! Are you kidding me? That was like my entire childhood. Just living with that my whole life.
Hey, it might change this year. I'm really enjoying watching the Bills offense this year.
Me too. Josh Allen. That's my dude.
He's a 3, but he has great seats for season tickets to New York Islanders.
10. Wife me up.
He's a 6, but he loves the white wines from Massican.
Home run. Also probably a fan of my TikTok, so that'll... We got to see what the red wine choices are too, but like, I'd say you're really close at like I'm gonna give you a 9. I'm gonna give you a 9. You get 3 extra points for Massican.
I'm a huge fan. Have you tasted his actual, the Massican brand from Friuli, the ones that he actually makes?
I have.
In Friuli as well?
You know, Dan Petrosky, the owner, founder, winemaker of Massican, is my neighbor, if you can believe it. So I have the, some people borrow a cup of sugar from their neighbors. I get like vermouth and beer and wine from my neighbors.
He's a 3. But he's one hell of a chef, and he cooks like Michelin star level Italian food. Knows how to pair it with wine.
There's 2 beef, 1 halibut. I said, where's the pigeon sauce? The pigeon sauce.
So I gotta be honest, no shade to my husband. But my husband doesn't know how to cook anything. So like, this really brings him up to like a 7. Because I can cook a lot, but it would be really nice to have somebody else do it for me.
Oh yeah, guys. Yeah, I'm a single guy. You gotta learn how to cook. Okay.
Yes.
He's an 8, and he loves fine dining, so he knows his food and he knows his wine too. But he always does the ordering, and he always wants to order a fine bottle of white wine, not red, at dinner.
And what did we start him at? An 8?
Yeah.
I would probably give him, I'm not gonna deduct too much on this one, maybe like a 6, because if he knows the wine, I also love fine dining. We can get creative here. We can have white wines with steak. We could get flexible. We could think outside the box. My only further point deduction would be as if he never lets me order a wine. I hate it when you go to a restaurant and people always hand my husband the wine menu.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm the wine person. Are you kidding me? And he just passes it over to me. And he's like, yeah, she knows what she's talking about.
Okay,
so if he never let me order, I would further deduct.
Well, he's a 10, but he never gives you the wine menu.
0.
He's a 9.5, so he's legit.
Okay,
He's the real deal. But he does not like Riesling.
Oh, Ryan Gosling with no Riesling love? Come on.
That's weird because I think that your friend Hannah is really sexy.
Oh. No Riesling. All right, here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say -3 with the idea that I can convert you. I'm gonna guess that you just haven't had the right one.
What?
We're gonna go have Thai food.
Oh, -3.
-3. I'm gonna bring you down. I'm gonna bring you down from a 9.5 to a 6.5. But here's what's gonna happen. At 6.5, right? I'm gonna try to. I've got 2 weeks to convert you, and if I can't convert you after 2 weeks, you're going down to a 4.
Favorite regions though.
Favorite region of Riesling? Well, I have to tell you, I mean,
Yeah.
I love the classic. I love the Mosel. I love Alsace. But I have to say, I had a Riesling from the Finger Lakes recently from Red Newt that just absolutely it was a 2016, blew my mind. Like more of a beautiful experience with that wine than most of the Burgundies that I've had in the last 2 years. Just absolutely breathtaking, nuanced, subtle, like, intensity. Love, love, love. I gotta give Australia a hand because Australia is producing some killer Rieslings.
I agree, 100%. He's a 8, but he holds his wine glass by the bowl.
Oh no, definitely. He's a 2. No, I can't do it. I can't do it. Depends on the wine. Okay, if it's a really nice wine glass, like if we're talking like we have like a Zalto or
Gabriel here. We're rivals.
And oh yeah, and you have those greasy paws all over it. Oh no, 2. I can't.
Well, so that TikTok that's why that TikTok went viral, because it was real.
Because it was real. I mean, honestly, like more than anything, it's just my personal thing, pet peeve.
Okay, 4. But he thinks that Riesling from the Finger Lakes is the best in the world, even better than German Riesling.
I'll give him an 8.5.
Whoa!
I grew up drinking Riesling from the Finger Lakes, and I feel like if anybody has an appreciation for that region, like I have an appreciation for that region, I feel like that just is like a really great connection.
I'm weak
like,
there. Who's the best? Who's the best in Riesling? I'm weak there.
Oh my god, I couldn't even. I love Weimer. Like he's like my go-to just because they have like 8 different SKUs of just Riesling that you could go. And when you go, you can give them, like, their tasting room is amazing. They give you you pick out which ones you want to have.
He's a 6.
Okay.
But so he's really solid. Okay, he's good. But his idea of like a night in, chilling with some wine, is to binge watch Euphoria.
Are we gonna win?
I mean, like 10. What? Euphoria is amazing. Like, let's loop Succession in and like get married. Yes, I love Euphoria. I think that's one of the most brilliant shows. I think that show gets a weird rap, right? Because you've got a bunch of kids doing crazy things, a lot of crazy things happening in general on Euphoria. But cinematically, I mean, just one of the most gorgeously produced shows that I've ever seen, and it's a masterpiece.
He's a 4, but he has a huge collection of the champagne Henriet Bazin. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
That's one of my favorite champs, grower champagne, for those who may not know. We said he was originally a what?
A 4, I think. I think
He's a 4. I mean, that definitely brings him up to at least a 7.
He's a 4. But he knows all the crews of Beaujolais by heart and knows the difference between producers and styles. Something I don't even know, and I love Beaujolais.
Oh man, I'm gonna put him at a 9. Beaujolais is special to me, and I'm only gonna give him a 9 out of 10 because there's only 10 crews, right? It's not the most complicated region, but the fact that he knows the differences between regions, or maybe that the difference in style between a Morgon and a Fleury, like that's sexy. I like that.
Favorite crew though, real quick.
Okay. No, usually it's Fleury, typically, because I love the like floraliness of it. But then like top 3, Morgon, and then Saint-Amour.
He's a 7.
Okay.
You've already had first date. Second date, you're gonna go over to some friends for barbecue. He brings a few bottles of Gruet sparkling wine.
Oh. Okay, with barbecue. So this is a tough one to end on because I love Gruet. I think it's one of the best produced sparkling wines in the U.S., especially for the bunny, because you're talking, anywhere between $12 and $16 from New Mexico, nonetheless. So right there, one tells me, you probably watch my TikTok channel.
My favorite is under $20. You can find it pretty much anywhere, and it's not from France or California. I know, I had the same reaction, New Mexico.
And 2, you probably are good about doing your research and knowing that you can do a lot better than things that rhyme with schmashmarka Prosecco. So I think there's a plus there. I'm just not sure that sparkling was the right choice for barbecue. I feel like you should have gone.
That's the aperitif. That's the aperitif.
Okay.
He knows.
Okay.
He's just bringing it for fun.
second date, Gruet. Champagne would have been better, but I'll take Gruet. And I will say that's it. That's a really beautiful choice. And let's just say we're on a budget because we're planning on going on vacation. So you've gone from a 6 to an 8.
He's also a 4. Okay, we'll stay the same. But when talking about champagne, he knows to say Meunier instead of Pinot Meunier.
Ooh. Listen, not everybody knows that. It doesn't bother me as much, but you definitely get a point or two. So we'll bring him to a 5.
Let's put him at 9.5 even. So he's pretty the real deal.
Okay.
But he only drinks for red wine Beaujolais Nouveau.
That's the only thing he drinks?
That's the only thing.
Like year round?
Yes.
Okay, so I personally think a bottle of Beaujolais Nouveau is great. I enjoy it in November. You're not a Beaujolais Nouveau guy. I would say if that's the only thing he drinks, I'm gonna give him like a 6. I'm probably gonna give him a 6 because I do appreciate that he likes Beaujolais. And I feel like if he only drinks Beaujolais Nouveau year round, either one, he must have some money because he's buying mass bottles of it up front because I feel like it sells out relatively quick. Or 2, he's a very dedicated person to things he's passionate about because he would have to hunt those bottles out throughout the year to keep a stock of them because there's not a lot of them.
You got me on that one.
I'll give him a 6.
He's an 8. But he swears that the special cuvées from big champagne houses are way better than grower champagne.
Sir. What? I mean, we can fight about it and like have some great champagne, but like that's -2 until we like come to some sort of agreement that like you like what? Like you've never had Pierre Peters? Like what? You know, I'm not gonna diss the special cuvées from big houses because I think those are some beautiful wines. But I mean, that's a tough one. That's just like you know what I hate. I love people that have opinions, but I also hate people that have opinions like that are just so tunnel vision. Like you completely ignore the possibility of any grower champagne outdoing Clos de Gaulle. What? Stop it. Sit down, please. Sit down.
You're gonna hate me because that's my hot take in general. I'm not saying specifically.
Okay, so wait. So what about a grower champagne, like a special cuvée from a grower champagne? Like what about like Pierre Peters Le Chatillon?
Of course. I'm talking about obviously the small guys. You know, pump out some gorgeous stuff. But I know Soms are crazy about grower champagne. In general, as a category, I find them a bit overrated. When I'm doing blind tastings, I find them...
Can we call that like a category though? Like, can we really call that a category? That's like, I feel like that's not a category. Like a category is like, if you put grower champagne special cuvée up against special cuvée of house champagnes, like that's a category. Those are categories. But like grower versus house, I don't...
See, I'll put Comte de Champagne and Vinet Francais Henriet from Bollinger up against anything.
Okay, those are great champagnes. Like I said, I will never turn down Comte. Never. I think those are beautiful champagnes. I'll never turn down Clos de Gaulle. There's very few champagnes that I'm gonna like turn my nose up at. But I'm what some would call an equal opportunity drinker. I'm what others might call a promiscuous drinker. I'll drink around.
10. But when you on first date he speaks you and tries to lecture you about white varieties and Rhone blends.
Oh no, not the mansplain. So that's another really big pet peeve of mine. So I'm just trying to picture like a 10, like the guy from the first season of Bridgerton.
You must know if we were to wed.
Okay? And then him mansplaining Rhone varietals to me. I mean, that brings him all the way down to a 4.
He's a 7, but he thinks Brooklyn is way cooler than Queens.
2. Queens is the best. Queens is the best borough. Fight me.
He's a 6. But maybe, okay, this is a little bit extreme for a first date. Maybe second date brings you a bottle of 84 Haut Brion.
Okay, well, here's the thing. He's a 6, Haut Brion. You know what? He gets a point. That brings him up to a 7. But you said 84, Haut Brion?
Yeah.
My birth year. So that was a terrible vintage in France. So, in Bordeaux especially. So listen, I'll give him the point, the extra for being thoughtful, but that he's not getting much more than that.
What if you move it down to 82?
Okay, well, we can bring him from we can bring him up 2.